Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. I'm your host, Nate Weitzer. And I know I said Josh would be back today, but my man is in travel hell trying to get home after Thanksgiving. His flight was delayed yet again. He's stuck in Cali. He's almost home. But here on the East Coast, we're getting some heavy weather. So I understand why flights are delayed and whatnot. In any case, I brought you an extra pick here for both the best bets and the player props. So I got 6 picks all together here for the December 2nd slate. And we should have Josh back for the full slate on Wednesday, but let's get right into it. We got Blazers, one of the favorites here of this podcast, especially when they're dogs, because they just play close games, man. I mean, they would have covered this number in 13 of 18 the last stretch here. 2 of those non-covers are against OKC. You got Lakers, you got Houston in there, and the Spurs. So, like, basically the best teams in the league. Have they not covered against? Toronto's been good. They've been hot, but they're not one of the best teams in the league, and they're missing RJ Barrett, who apparently is absolutely vital to what they've been doing this year, because you've seen the offensive rating dip to 102 in their last 3, losing the last 2 badly. The last 4, the offense has not looked good without RJ. It kind of, moves everybody down into their old roles in terms of Scotty Barnes, being forced to create more offensively rather than just be a cog in the wheel. Maybe Brandon Ingram gets into more of his hero ball. And the way the Blazers defend makes me feel pretty good about them keeping Toronto's offense down, because they sink in, they limit assists. It would be great if Donovan Clingan plays. He's questionable with an illness, so you don't know if they're going to have that same sink in strategy. But I mean, you got Robert Williams as the backup, so it's not really like you don't have a rim protector. Blazers have those bigs in spades. They have big wings to deal with Toronto's big wings, so it's a pretty good matchup for them. And Denny Avdia, while he's one of those big wings, is just an absolute menace. I don't know if Toronto's going to be able to deal with him. I mean, OKC could not deal with him. Just an absolute monster line 2 games ago. And I mean, the Raptors, when you step up in competition against the West, they've actually lost 10 straight against the West prior to beating a shorthanded Memphis team. By the way, they needed a game high 27 from RJ Barrett to beat that Memphis team. So he's out. As we know, it's also the 3rd and 4 nights for Toronto here after those duds. Blazers got 3 days of rest before playing OKC on Sunday over the Thanksgiving break. So they're pretty well rested here. Shaedon Sharpe back in action to spark that second unit. Jeremy Grant sparking that second unit as well. I mean, they are just they're deeper than you'd think without Drew Holiday for a while now, getting used to it, just really getting used to playing through Denny Avdia, who is just a monster, probably an early most improved candidate. Knicks at Celtics. This is a big one. And if it's a big game, you got to lean under. This has been bet up a couple points to 231.5. I think at this point, I'll take the under. I was trying to talk myself into the over with the market here, and I just don't picture it. I picture this game getting bogged down, even if it starts kind of fast. So maybe it's a live under opportunity. The Knicks are actually the number 1 defensive team in the 4th quarter in November by defensive rating. They're 9th overall in defensive rating on the road in November. And at surface level, you think, well, they give up so many threes. They just protect the paint over all else. So Boston could rain threes down on them. I mean, yeah, if Boston hits 20 plus threes, this game could get a little loose. Derek White is back. Peyton Pritchard is coming off a huge game. That's possible, but I think Mike Brown he's no dummy. Like, he knows how to adjust his scheme based on who he's playing. It's not like they give up threes to every team they play. The Knicks, they've been so good recently defensively because they have those good game plans. They've gone under in 6 of their last 7. Their offense, not great. In fact, it's 5 points per game worse without OG Anunoby, and it's small sample size theater. Their defensive rating is 5 points better without OG. I don't think that's going to be a good thing here against Jaylen Brown, who's in his bag right now. But I think the offense makes sense as far as just like a bit of a mismatched situation, and Josh Hart is playing so much, and that hurts your spacing. And then it's Jalen Brunson just pounding it until he can get his shot. It's going to be slow, I think. I mean, Boston is the slowest paced team in the NBA. They've had some overs because they've shot the lights out because they have such a good offensive rating against some poor defenses. But the last 7 times they've faced the Knicks, those games have averaged a 90 pace. And the Knicks are scoring just 108 against Boston. Boston's had some offensive eruptions, mostly because Tatum has just taken over. And while Jaylen Brown's been playing really well, I don't know if he can just take over in that same regard. I mean, and they've had both those guys in the past. So, and the last thing is Boston's defensive rebounding rate among the worst in the league. Knicks rebounding rate is one of the best in the league. I think that's going to lead to some OREBs for Towns, for Hart. just lead to longer possessions. Like kick it back out. Brunson after Brunson takes all this time off the shot clock. Here we go again. And so I think if you take the over, I think you're going to be really frustrated watching this fourth quarter and being like, God damn, man, can we get some shots up? So that's the take there. Last pick here is the Wiz plus 13 on a back-to-back here in Philly. But Philly's got a long injury report, and they're coming off a double overtime loss on Sunday. So it's not a back-to-back, but not really a good spot for them either. They've listed Paul George, Andre Drummond questionable. We know Embiid and Kelly Oubre are going to be out. Without Oubre, they're actually just 3-4 this season, and the net rating has dipped to -4.5. And for a while, the Sixers have been struggling to close games because of a lack of depth. They have a little more depth now. VJ Edgecombe back, McCain's up in minutes. But they're just not this, when teams are able to really key in on Maxey and force somebody else to beat them, we've seen them struggle down the stretch. So for them to cover a 13.5 spread, that's why you've seen people gobble this up. It's down to 12.5 in places. And the Wiz looked obviously very impressive against Milwaukee, attacking the paint with Bagley, Cam Whitmore, with Bilal Coulibaly being a bit of a hub. I mean, are we counting on back-to-back impressive performances from the Washington Wizards? I don't know how confident I feel in that, but maybe they can at least keep this thing close. I mean, if you remember in like game 3 this season, they had the Sixers absolutely on the ropes when the Sixers were in a short rest spot there. Sixers stormed back for a miracle overtime finish and won that game. So some of these Wizards players will remember that. We'll have some confidence as far as like we can hang with these guys. Like we can keep it within single digits. So I actually think it's a pretty good look here. I mean, CJ McCollum has completely turned up in certain matchups, and this is not a scary matchup for him if he is able to go on the back-to-back. If Middleton's out, CJ gets all the usage he wants and can keep this thing rolling. So interesting look here, and segues to our first player prop if you just want to take that angle in this game. Jared McCain is still value. This is actually a point lower than 5 days ago where we were getting ahead of the curve on Jared McCain saying, hey, he's up to 25 minutes now. This is too low at 12 points. Now he's up to 29 minutes. And yes, he only scored 5 points against Atlanta's elite defensive backcourt rotation. Like that makes total sense, but he's out there for a ton of minutes means he's good to go. And in the previous 5, he's averaging 12.5 a game at 1.7 points per minute. So yeah, obviously that projects to a lot more when you get up to 29 minutes. Those first 2, he's about 12 minutes, just barely getting on the court. Here, we saw him hit a season high 20 against the the Nets, who are not great defensively, despite what they did to get their second win of the year. And the Wizards obviously give it up everywhere, especially to like secondary guards, because Keyshawn George is maybe their only plus defender. And he's going to probably be on Maxey as much as he can, which just leaves like CJ, Bub Carrington on McCain, even the backups beyond that. If McCain is coming off the bench, VJ Edgecombe is back, like I said, but I think he eats into Grimes minutes more than anything. The last game VJ missed, Grimes played 43 minutes and McCain, like I said, had 20 off the bench against Brooklyn. So, and with Embiid out, it's just a guard-centric offense. We saw last year McCain's usage jumped from 21% to 27% without Joel Embiid. Andre Drummond might also not play. If it's a Dembona, like that's no usage from the front court. It's just going to be the guards, and Maxey can't do it all every night, right? So they're gonna give McCain these opportunities from above the break and see what he can do, either to hit threes when teams overplay Maxey or to attack. And I mean, he's just a pure scorer who's working his way back, but this is some value here as far as where he's at. And then we go to Julius Randle at 12.5 rebounds and assists. I like leaving the points out of it, the way his usage rate has dropped with Anthony Edwards back in the lineup, but it's not really a scary matchup against Derek Queen, Zion Williams, guys who are not really interested in defending. We know Herb Jones is out. Trey Murphy is questionable. So the Pelicans really lacking wing stoppers means I like the Wolves offense in general. And Randle is the de facto point guard for this team. He also takes on a bigger load when the Wolves are on short rest. This is a 3rd and 4 nights for them. And you look at back-to-backs this season, he's getting 7.5 assists per game on back-to-backs. The trends are also up in terms of his production, rebounds, and assist-wise on 0 or 1 day's rest last season, if you want a bigger sample size. Ant is posting huge numbers against bad teams, mostly scoring numbers. Don't hate him to get 30 plus again here against the Pels team based on what I said there. But Randle's the one facilitating, right? The potential assists are sky high. He's coming off a 12 dime game and should be a better rebounder than he is, I suppose. If you get a team like the Pelicans that's going to miss a bunch of shots, they are 4th most in terms of giving up rebounds and assists this year. And Randle's unders, you look at, they've come against mostly elite defenses. I say mostly, the Phoenix Suns are an elite defense apparently. So the Suns and the Thunder are the only unders in his recent game log. Otherwise, over in 7 of his last 8, and very close. He got hooked there with the 12 in a blowout over the Mavs as far as the one under in that span. Now there is blowout potential with all those guys out for the Pelicans, but I think they've been spunky lately. And I don't know if the Wolves are going to totally blow them out. And Randle's also gotten to this number in blowouts, not playing the 4th quarter at all. As far as the scheme, like Pelicans are 3rd worst giving up corner threes. So that's kind of the bread and butter for Randle getting assists, right? He gets into the lane, kicks it out to guys like McDaniels who can just knock down that corner 3. Easy money right there. So give me the rebounds and assists for Randle. And yet another show favorite playing the hits here, AJ Mitchell, and also a bargain hunt here because Jalen Williams is back. So this is down probably 2 points in terms of where he was with J-Dub out. The assumption is he's going to get relegated to a lesser role because they have both Dub and Shea in there. But he's also going to get a lot more playing time with the second unit running the show, not necessarily playing off Shea as much. And we saw in that first game, I mean, his first opportunity was against the Suns on Friday. He actually banged his knee after 5 minutes and was out. But we did see a 37% usage rate in that limited 5-minute sample. So he was still going to the rim as J-Dub was getting reintegrated. And then he got 29 minutes on Sunday with Dub a full go. He had 11 potential assists in that game, 5 assists. That was tied for the team high in potentials. And so that pretty much fits with what I'm saying, that he's getting an opportunity to run things more. That's why I'm adding the assists, not just counting on him to get the points, but he's ultra reliable scoring. Double-digit machine right now, especially you look at the Dubs who they're going to be throwing out there. No Steph, potentially no Jimmy, no Draymond, potentially a blowout then. And just like backup guards. I mean, a lot of Moses Moody, a lot of Buddy Hield potentially, just guys that are not going to be great keeping him out of the paint. If Draymond's out, it's the whole defensive general. The whole thing could collapse like a house of cards, and OKC's just a machine that's going to pile up points. And AJ could have a bigger role than you think than Dub or SGA because of the way that things tilt in a blowout. Also no Isaiah Hartenstein, which creates that more egalitarian guard based offense to a degree. They don't play as much through Hart as a dribble handoff hub up at the elbow. They're going to let the guards spin from the top of the key, probably a lot of Chet pick and pop, pick and roll. That's how they're going to initiate. And AJ's just been money on those types of actions this year. So that is all the time we have for you today on Tuesday, December 2nd. Hope you're getting something out of this. Like and subscribe to the page. And we will see you again on Wednesday with a full slate. But until then, happy betting.